Yes, yes.
All right, okay. So are you guys okay? You're in good health?
Yes, Professor. Thank you very much for
Okay.
asking.
All right, good. So today, I haven't give you about this lecture, right? I haven't delivered this lecture, correct?
Yes, Professor.
Have I give the lecture about Freud? Not yet, right?
No,
Yes,
no, no.
yes,
Okay.
Professor. Not
Because actually I have 4 sets. So I am confused which class completed, which class delivered, which class still pending. So okay, yours is set 3, it's not yet delivered. Okay. So today I'm going to we will discuss and we will learn about psychoanalysis approach by Sigmund Freud. Anyone here is your first time hearing about Sigmund Freud, or you have heard about Sigmund Freud before? Okay, it's just put thumbs up. If I need you to reply, probably it will take a few minutes. So today we will learn, okay, thank you, Atka. So we will learn about Sigmund Freud. Okay, good. Huang Yidan, and Fan Yuzin. So this is Sigmund Freud. Okay, and actually Sigmund Freud is the first theory that emerged in the school in the field of psychology, and people we call Sigmund Freud as the father of psychology. So Sigmund Freud, so he introduced the term of psychoanalysis, the theory of psychoanalysis. Okay, so let's get to know him more. Okay, so psychoanalysis is the first formal personality theory which is pioneered by Sigmund Freud. So in this theory, Sigmund Freud studied and focused about the unconscious part or unconscious mind of a human, whereby Sigmund Freud say that, okay, uh unconscious natural motives in the human that influence the human's behavior. Okay, so he did explore about the unconscious mind of the human. Okay, so let's get to know about Freud. So Freud's life history. He was born in May 6 in 1856, okay, in Freiburg, Moravia, which is in Czech Republic. So part of Freud's life was spent in Vienna, and he died at the age of 83 in 1939. And his formal education was medical degree at the University of Vienna. So basically, Freud started his career, his academic education as a medical doctor and as a researcher focused in research on nerve disorders. So he has a lot of a deep interest about neurology, about neuropsychology, about things that has got to do with the nerves, the nerve cells and the neurons. Okay. So during Freud's early years, when Freud was born, so his father was 40 years old. So you just imagine 40 years old for any individual who got their first child, it's not that young. Okay, so in terms of life experience, a lot of, I mean, like huge life experience. And his father was 40 years old and his mother was only 20. You just imagine the huge gap between the father and the mother. So his father was strict and authoritarian. Okay, can you type in the chat room what kind of examples of behavior of an authoritarian parent? Can you just write in the chat? Okay, and then we just go through. So you just imagine the father is 40 years old and is very strict. Okay, and the father always felt uh hostility and anger towards him throughout him growing up. Okay, but the mother is opposite. Okay, the mother is very young, the mother was attractive, The mother was extremely protective and loving towards Freud, which is her first son. So he felt very passionate, and even he has that sexual attachment to the mother. And this is what we call as a relationship that is set the stage for his concept on Oedipus complex. So Freud was the one who introduced the term Oedipus complex, which means the love of a son towards the mother. Okay, so much of Freud's theory reflected and built on his own experiences as a child. So you try to visualize what kind of parenting that Freud get throughout his childhood. So on the parenting of from the father is very strict, harsh, abusive, and hostility, anger. And meanwhile, the mother gave all the love that she can. So there's a huge gap there. And that's when Freud discovered the psychoanalysis. Okay. So his passion and curiosity in neurology, okay, left the academic world at the university and became a medical practitioner in 1856. So Freud married to Martha Bethes, and he is blessed with 4 children. And one of the children's called is named Anna Freud, is one of Freud's children who became a famous psychological figure. Okay. So, okay, in terms of personality that we will learn about when we learn about psychoanalysis, when we learn about Sigmund Freud, so we will get to know a few terms, and then the theory of what is established by Freud. So he introduced the psychosexual theory. He introduced the terms of the structure of personality, the 3 stages of conscious. Okay. And then the last one will be the defense mechanism of a human. So psychic energy, it's part of the personality development in a human. So basically, psychic energy is an understanding of psychoanalysis that requires an examination of aspects of psychic energy that include concepts of psychic determination and also the subconscious level. Okay, understanding psychic energy in individuals means insistence based on the concept of libido. So he introduced the concept of libido. Have you heard about libido before? Okay, what do you know about libido? I can't see the, okay, chat. Oh, okay, let's open up chat. Okay, Atka says an authoritarian parent is one that demands obedience and achievement through coercion and force whilst maintaining an emotional disconnection. Okay, it's a one-sided communication. A parent which yells or takes away, it's simple term, kan? A parent, yes, that which yells and take away the privileges of their children due to poor grades, not listening, it's strict. Okay, it's more of the application of rules, and if the child tends to didn't follow the rules, and definitely they will receive a punishment. Okay, so give order without explain. Okay, right? Good. And strongly controlling and ignores children's opinion. Well done. Okay, so libido. So that is, you just imagine what is the outcome of any children who lives in that authoritarian parenting. Okay, and libido is the concept of the need for sexual relief. Okay, it is sexual related. Okay, thank you guys. So libido is a sexual urge as life force or eros. It's the psychic energy. Also, eros is the life force. It's actually the force that makes us to reach any aims that we have in our mind. Okay, so its libido is a sexual urge. Includes all aspects of self-satisfaction. Whatever that you do, you have that libido in order for you to reach that satisfaction in your aspects of life. Meanwhile, thanatos is the urge of aggression. It is related to your aggressiveness. yeah, your aggression, your anger, and the urge of instinct, naturally since a person was born. So these are the two psychic energy that the human have since they were first born. Okay. Okay, next is the consciousness level. So if you look at the iceberg, okay, I believe that you have seen, I mean, different types of iceberg, but at the end of the day, the message is usually at the tip of the iceberg. It's the happiness is the thing that people see, is the good thing that people see, without realizing or knowing that all humans, they have conflicts, they have frustration, they have sadness, they struggling in life. So those are in the bottom of the iceberg. So this is what it meant by consciousness level in the human personality. So Freud divided the iceberg, okay, the personality of the human in three types of consciousness level. So he said that there are behavior that we performed, okay, during our conscious mind. There are behavior that we perform during when we are not mindful enough, probably about the pre-conscious mind, and sometimes probably at times human perform unconsciously. Okay, so there are three levels, which is conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious. And each of the consciousness level, okay, it is related to three different types of structure of personality. Okay, if you can see this in the um, iceberg diagram, conscious is the ego part, pre-conscious is the superego, and unconscious is the id. So superego, id, and also ego, it's the structure of the personality. Okay, so we go to the first one, which is the conscious level. So conscious level, it includes all aspects of behavior, actions, feelings that the individual is aware of. Okay, so feeling lonely, like you like to do something, you like over something, you have some feelings towards someone, and writing assignments, doing your assignments, doing a focus group discussion, running, jumping, skipping, eating, drinking, and whatever that you do, that is happening in your conscious mind. Basically, you are conscious of doing these kind of activities. So preconscious is a state of thought that is related to feelings. Okay, so our thoughts can be called on our own. So probably while you are looking at me, you are you are hearing to my lecture in this Zoom platform, but at the same time, you could have another thought. Your thought is somewhere else. So that is the preconscious level. So this thought can be called on our own, so that its reality can be felt in a conscious state. Okay, so example, you are hungry while you are attending lecture. So you are thirsty. You plan to to do this after class, and in that state it is the preconscious. So example, hungry, it can be called on their own, and further action is the will to eat. All right. Okay, unconscious is the most important stage in the process of psychoanalysis. So when any kind of psychotherapy that involve using this psychoanalytic approach, so usually the therapist will dig and explore and dig on their patient's unconscious mind. Okay, so this is the most important stage in the process of psychoanalysis, which plays a role in shaping one's behavior. All right. So it means shaping one's behavior apart from a natural instinctual impulses such as psychic energy. So unconscious, it contains thoughts, wishes, feelings, and memories of which we are unaware. Probably you have been thinking about your childhood experiences, whatever things that happened to you. You wish to have this, to achieve this. So these are all we are unaware of it. So it is the unconscious mind. Okay. So next we move to the structure of personality. Okay. Let us do some thinking exercise or brain exercise. Okay, so what can you see in this photo? Anyone? You can switch on your microphone or unmute your microphone.
Well, I can see there is an angel and an evil
Okay.
in the each side of the, well, I think this is a human face, but
Okay.
it is mixed with blue and red, which is the same color with the angel and the devil.
Okay. So it means the devil, it's the red color. So
Yeah,
the angel, it's the blue. Okay.
yeah,
Good, good. A good response. Fine.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other response? What
Hello,
can you
Professor.
see? Hello, who is this speaking?
I'm Huang Yidan.
Yidan. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yidan.
I see the man, but it contains three parts: is a superego and ego and the ID.
Okay. All right. It has three
Yes.
parts. Okay. Okay, good. All right. So this is I'm asking what can you see? Okay. Next question is what can you interpret or analyze the photo that you see?
Hello?
Yes, hi.
I can see on the ego part it is orange and superego is blue. It is red, but however, orange is actually a color that blended red and blue. So, in my interpretation, the ego is a kind of a result or a blend of the superego and ID.
Oh, okay. All right. Good. Okay. It's a blend of superego and ID. Okay. Next question. Anyone to further explain what does it mean by ego is the blend of superego and ID? Id. Anyone from local students? We have
Pardon?
okay,
Professor, may I answer?
Atta. Yep. Sure,
Uh,
sure.
so the question was about how ego is a blend of the ID and superego.
Yes.
I see. So in my own opinion,
Mm-hmm.
uh, ego within itself is a driving force.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's something that stands alone from ID and superego.
Id.
As
Yeah, we call it
yeah,
id.
from
Okay.
it and superego, it's something that stands alone. As we can see here in the picture within itself,
Okay.
superego and it stands as they're influencing forces, but in the end, it's not really the person within themselves. And well, the part of them that becomes the it and superego are
Okay.
simply uh,
Okay.
influence parts. At least
All right.
that's what I can surmise.
Okay, good. Thank you, all of you. Okay. It means that you can elaborate in a good way. Okay, so let's go in detail. So Freud says that in human, we have this three structure of personality. So this three structure of personality that determines our behavior. Okay, guys. So number one, if you see the red one, it's the devil part. You know, all this horn and red being associated with something like probably anger and things like you love to do some things is the satisfying part. Okay, so it works under the principles of pleasure. Okay. Can you give example that things you do that you enjoy the most, that you like? Okay, think of something. Okay, and Freud says that superego, it operates under the principle of reality. So in simple words, you can see the angel part. Okay, you just imagine in ourselves, we have the devil part, which Freud says it is the selfish part of you. And at the same time, your superego is trying to save you from doing something bad or leaving you with negative consequences if you follow your id. Understand? Okay, so superego, superego, operates under moral principles. Okay, this one, the color, you don't have to follow the blue color. Basically, the superego is your angel part. I might need to change the color, the ego to orange, and the superego to the blue part. I mean, easier to understand. Okay, so it's the fun part. You feel satisfied. You happy doing things that probably might break the rules. It's a principle of pleasure. And your superego, it's the angel part of you that always reminds you, okay, please don't do this. Adka, please don't do this. You might break the rules. You might frustrated your parents when you do this. So superego operates under the moral principles. So superego will actually give advice to you before you proceed to do something based on your id. And your ego, okay, operates under the principle of reality. So your ego, our ego, is actually the one that decides whether to proceed with our ids or whether we want to listen to our superego. Understand?
Understood,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, good. So in simple example, what can you give to me? What can you share? You understand? You have your own needs. Okay, I want to go to the pub, for example. Okay, to the disco. But you know, as a Muslim, we are not allowed. It's beyond our religion and also culture. Yeah, probably you're a Malay and Muslim, but your Eid says that it's just for a while. It's just one time only, and you get to release your stress and you can have some fun. You listen to all this music. So your ego says that. Sorry, your Eid says that you need to go to the pub or disco, but your super ego works at the same time saying that you are prohibited. Once you cannot go to the disco because it's against our religion, it against our cultural norm, it against, I mean, your parents would have disappointed with you if they knew that you're going to the disco or pub or nightclub. Okay, and at that time your id and your super ego is fighting. Okay, fighting with each other, but your ego plays a big role. That ego works under the reality, and ego is the structure that rationalize. Yes, you cannot go. This yada yada. If you go, you probably might break the rules, might blah 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 blah. And ego is the component or structure that will decide you need to stay or you cannot go. And then if you decide that, okay, I shouldn't go, I will give bad impression, I will do negative things. So with your it is fail at that time, it means that your ego is functioning well and your super ego wins. Okay. And at the end of the day, you have to remember that it is actually the component that always influence us to do things that it's fun, that is pleasurable, and at the end of the day, it might cause you harm. Okay, guys? Understand? So we repeat again, it works under the principle of which? Pleasure. Okay? Superego, it's the angel part. Superego ni, if we says, it's the discipline teacher. Superego, it's the ustaz or ustazah. So it works under the moral principles. And ego, it's the one that decides on things. Okay, it's the based on the on the reality. Okay, understand? All right. So how? Yes, Aka.
Pardon, Professor, if I'm getting this wrong, that I have actually read one of Freud's most interesting works, within my opinion,
Okay.
and it is in regards with this particular matter, that being the superego, ego, and it.
Yeah.
The title of the work, if I'm not mistaken, is the economical problem of masochism. Now, within this particular book, or maybe the
Mhm.
particular section, Freud did state that at one point there is a point within how to put it simply, there
There is a
it is
what,
for
Aka?
pardon,
There
Professor.
is a what?
Oh my God, so sorry. So within the work, Freud said
Mm-hmm.
that this superego may very well act to punish the person within
It.
question, instead of, yeah, no,
Mm.
the superego
Yeah.
may lead towards so as you have said beforehand, superego is a moral inhibition, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Moral
so
principle.
yeah, so within the particular work of Freud, uh the superego may just act to punish the user. Now, within this
Mhm.
particular instance, would you, Professor, perhaps argue that superego is a destructive force, whilst it within itself is simply trying to maintain the human being?
Oh, okay. I personally feel that superego is like I said, it's the moral, based on moral, and you can see it's very ideal, and superego knows that if it's the consequence, the behavior that this human will take, whether it will leave either positive or negative consequences. So if you can see in this structure as well, in this diagram, it says that superego, it punishes behavior that violates. So of course it will give, or it will shield the human from doing something harm to the human. Okay.
Okay, Professor. Understood.
All right. Probably if you can share with me the one that you read, and I will go through it. Okay, so that probably we can have more discussion on this. But basically, super ego, it's the angel part of you, of us. Okay, whether it is disruptive or not, it depends on what sort of the needs that the human experience during that time. Okay, and this one, it's the combination of the level of consciousness or awareness, and also the three structures of the personality. So the ego, definitely the principle of reality, is in the conscious level. Okay, it's the unconscious. Okay, and it's the bottom, unconscious, and super ego is the pre-conscious. So super ego is the thoughts, feelings, memories, and wishes. Okay, this is another simple example, okay, that usually we will face. I mean, the needs, the satisfaction that we would want to have, and at the same time, the things that will stop you from doing things that probably could harm you. So it says that I want it now, I want it now, and I want it now. I don't care, but I know that I want it. I want that thing now. Okay, it's something pleasure. And but at the same time, super ego says, no, no, you cannot have it. You cannot have it now. It's not right. It's beyond insane. This is insane. It's against the law or the rules and regulation. right? At that time, but your ego that operates under the principle of reality says that, okay, probably we could do some pro and cons, the advantage and disadvantage of having this. So I need to do a bit of planning to get it, whether it is good or it isn't. Okay, so you look at this diagram, and again is a repetition of it. It is the instinct principle. Ego is the reality and superego is the morality. Okay. Okay, so it is the selfish part of you, and we tend to be selfish sometimes. We couldn't be bothered of our others' needs or interests. So it is also an encouragement or an energy, and it is primitive. Its properties exist and are stored from birth. So it is an energy that is directed towards the goal of pleasure or enjoyment. So for example, if the baby wants to breastfeed, the baby will continue to cry when the milk is given to him. And the element of it in children is trying to get pleasure without caring how to get it. Being a baby, only the thing that they know it's crying to get the milk. Okay. They cannot say that, Mom, I need to breastfeed. Mom, I need to drink. They cannot have the ability yet. But a signal for them to show that they're hungry, it's crying. And then straight away, the mother comes with the bottle or a direct breastfeeding to fulfill the needs of the baby. So this is what we call as it. Okay. And it is irregular, and it is irrational and full of orientation, requires satisfaction. And in order to achieve pleasure, it had to put aside the ego and superego as they have different principles. Okay, remember, different principles for three of them. Ego is instincts, it is pleasure, ego it's the reality, and superego it's the moral. So it and superego always hinder the will of it. So you have to remember that ego and superego, they will team tag together to stop the it. Okay. And overflowing it and superego immunity will result in personality imbalances. So personality imbalances, usually it relates with gender orientation, sexual orientation, disorientation, about the dress code, dress code issues, about probably it could be the hormonal changes issues. Okay, so ego, it operates under the principle of reality. It is growing up from it, striving to face the reality. And the ego is part of the it, which it transforms into the ego through the perception of consciousness caused by the direct influence of the world reality. And ego is an element at the conscious level. The ego is full of perceptions, and ego wants progress and can adjust its function according to the situation. So the development of the ego is through social relationships and identification with others, objects in the environment. Okay. And superego, the superego is more like an individual's conscience, and superego is the backbone of the aspects of uh, good moral reinforcement. So the angel part of our structure personality. So correlate norms, morals value on local community, forming boundaries, and they set the cultural environments, the values, social. So these are under the boundaries of superego. And superego also works to suppress the primitive will of it, to cut, to stop, to avoid of following the it. okay, which is not based on moral values and social ethics. Okay. So another example, this will probably closely related with all of you, okay, especially during exams week, during your study week. So exams are approaching. So should you, okay, do no revision and socialize? So it means you are following your id. Your id says that let's go and enjoy. But your super ego says that no, you cannot enjoy. You have like 5 more papers. What happens if your parents know that you are having so much fun without you studying? And you remember the last time that I asked you, what did you do? What do you do during your weekend? And you guys said, oh, we study and study, right? So this is what happened if the person follows the id. So they rather do no revision and they go out and spend time with friends and chilling. Okay. So it shows that your id won over ego and super ego. And number 2 is when exam are approaching, you do nothing but revision, having no rest or relaxation. So your super ego says that you need to study, and your id give up, okay, and then you end up studying. So the last one is you revise, okay, with a realistic revision timetable, meaning your life is balanced. You can probably go out for a while, but at the same time, when you come back, you study. So it means that your your super ego and your ego, it's in the balance. Okay. So this is a simple example for you to understand what is id, ego, and super ego. So actually can relate with any children, even you yourself, you have your own needs that sometimes we push our parents to fulfill our satisfaction and needs. Okay. All right. So this is another part of psychosexual levels. Okay. According to Freud, there are 5 stages of psychosexual development. Number 1 is the oral stage. Number 2 is anal stage. Number 3 is phallic stage. 4 is latency stage. And 5 is genital stage. Okay, so what are they? So each 5 stages of the psychosexual development in children differs against all age. So it started with babies, the newborn, and then moving next stage, it's the toddlers, okay, the early children and early childhood, and the third stage is those who are in preschool, okay, a phallic stage, and those latency, it's in the school age children, and the genitals are those adolescents group. Okay, so we go for if we go to the first stage, which is the oral stage, it is age between newborns up to 18 months. Okay, newborns up to 1.5 years. So the age, the main activity during this age or during this stage is the milk sucking activities, the breastfeeding activities. So mouth function during this age, during this stage, is on taking in, sniffing, biting, spitting, and closing. So if the moral activity is inhibited, okay, we expect fixation due to climax and to anticlimax. It means that once the activity stops, once the breastfeeding stops and the mother takes away the bottle or the, the nipple, and the child will be in a sudden shock. And if that things happen regularly, it will inhibit the oral activity, and it is anticipate that the fixation will happen because it is happen from climax to anticlimax. Okay, so these are the main moral or oral activity in newborns. Okay, it's taking up, sucking behavior, breastfeeding, so taking in, right? And in oral stage so if the breastfeeding is inhibited, Freud says that the likelihood of the adults, okay, to smoke is high. So the adults will grow as a smoker, will drinks a lot, and they like to chew. If the breastfeeding is inhibited during their small on their newborn phase. So if biting the mother's breast, so it says that it likely to tease other people, to always gossiping, and there are people who are aggressive. So probably during their newborn stage, oral stage, they love to bite their mother's breast. Okay, so when the activity is stopped, it could lead to this fixation in later adult years. So they like to tease, they like to gossip, and they are aggressive. And if the person likes to sneeze, it shows that, or it means that they can keep secrets, but they can also be stingy. Kedekut, eh? And if the person likes to spit, it says that Freud says that the person is introvert and in low self-esteem. Okay. So these are some of the examples of the fixations happen in different kind of psychosexual stage of human. So oral stage, people tend to smoke, gum chewing, nail biting. And in anal fixations, they tend to be a person who are very perfect, have this orderliness, they in a structured matter. They are obsessive, they are rigid. But in phallic stage, when fixation happen, they tend to be exhibitionism. They are always in pride and vanity. Okay, we go to the second stage. Okay, anal stage is the anal period between the age of 1 to 3 years. So at this stage, okay, anal stage, the growing children, they move the pleasure center from the mouth area to the anal or anus area. Okay, remember at the first stage of oral, the pleasure center it's around the mouth area. But when they move towards second stage, which is the anal stage, the activity or the center of pleasure is in the anal or anus area. And the important activity in this stage is the toilet train activity, which is the defecation. It's when we need the children, the little ones, to learn on how to pass urine, or on how to give going through the process of the big business. And parents are happy when their baby is able to do a bowel movement perfectly. So when the children successfully follow their toilet training regime, okay, and it shows that the parents are happy, and definitely the parents will boost the children's confidence. But when the children fails the toilet train, parents tend to show negative emotions, and the fact of the baby will be shy. Okay. And babysitters also apply rules of toilet use, hygiene, and cleanliness. Some are firm and not firm, and caregivers' attitude is too harsh when managing children to defecate. So there is a negative or anti-child attitude, and the attitude of giving too much opportunity to organize themselves leads to children self-doubtful and insecure. So we need to give at least children freedom, but with minimal observation and supervision for them to boost their confidence level and self-esteem during these toilet train activities. Okay, number 3, the third stage is the phallic stage. It's between the ages of 3 to 5 years old. the pleasure moves from the anal area to the genital area. So it started from oral, then anal, and now it's the genital area. It's the sexual organs. So children, they pay attention to the anatomical differences between males and females and relate them to sexual activities. Okay, so two boys glorify their mothers as a source of all kinds of love. They sleep with their mother, they bathe with their mother, they eat with the mother, drink with their mother. Okay, and according to Freud, boys at this stage, okay, not only fall in love with their mother, but also want to have sexual relationship with their mother. So this situation is called Oedipus complex. So Oedipus complex is when Oedipus wants to kill his father in order to marry his mother, but his wish is not fulfilled when his father acts as a stumbling block as a result of negative attitude formed on his father. Okay, so phallic is also the most critical stage, will determine the rapid sexual growth in an individual. So this stage is most important in personality development. If a child failed to go through this phallic stage accordingly, so it will create the gender identity conflict or confusion or disorientation. So if you see the photo, the little girl, this is the case in the UK for many years ago. So the little girl is born a she, but somehow during her school age, she decided to be a he until now. Okay, this is in UK, and the right photo, this is happening in Malaysia. So this he is also one of the influencer, okay, and he started as a boy during her secondary school, but later on, after he finishes his school, he decided to opt to be a she-male, okay, until today. I'm not sure whether sometimes we heard that this particular boy are moving towards the good. Sometimes he changed, sometimes he stick back to being a female. Okay, number 4, the fourth stage is the latency. Starting when children are 6 to 12 years old. So it means the latent or during this stage, it is inactive sexual desire. So it is latent, and it is full of atmosphere that strengthens the nature and characteristics of masculinity or femininity. Okay, in a simple words, it says that every children in this latency stage, they choose to be friends with the same sex gender. Okay, and the full of the ability to make friends with friends, whether or male or female, are prone in this stage. But when they reach the genital stage, the fifth stage, when the children are 12 years old, we can witness from the calm sexual urge during the latent stage became the level of turbulences. This is what happened when all the hormonal changes, the sexual hormone started to penetrate, to become, it's like a roller coaster, okay, changes, and the genitals begin to function and carry children into adolescence and puberty. So this is when the children or the adolescent, they starts to have feelings towards different sex gender. Okay, so there is an element of love, incest towards heterosexual love that is not incest. So children try to choose different love objects of the genitals. So the boy tends to have feelings towards the girl, and so goes to the girls, they have feelings or sexual attraction to the boys. So it happens during the fifth stage. So you can read this. Okay. Before we move to the next part, probably we could take 5, okay, until we resume our class at 5:15. Okay, thank you. Okay. And let's move to the next part of the lecture. So Freud also introduced defense mechanisms. Okay, so defense mechanism are coping techniques that use in the wake of any threatening situation. So it is actually ways of us coping with any kind of stress, any kind of problems, any kind of conflicts, crisis, or issues. So defense mechanism, it has few types of defense mechanism, and usually we will have one type of defense mechanism that suits us, that suits our personality. So again, defense mechanism are coping techniques ataupun strategi daya tindak that use in the wake of any threatening situations. Basically, you use defense mechanism to save your life, okay, from any kind of problems or stress in life. So defense mechanism, it has repress, denial, projection, reaction formation, displacement, sublimation, isolation, provocation behavior, and rationalization. Okay, so we go each one of them. So along the way, probably you can name, you can identify on your own what sort of defense mechanism that you usually do or adapt whenever you face any difficulties in life. So repression, it is meant by someone's suppress their subconscious problems. For example, if they face with any kind of problems, but they can still smile. They can show to people that they are good. They can portray a nice smile, a nice gesture, and they can still entertain whoever that he or she met. But deep down inside, they are burst into tears. So that it means that they still visible from the eyes and face somehow. As much as they try to be happy, to smile, but people around them knew that they are facing any kind of life issues. Okay, so that is repression or repressed. Denial or in denial is to avoid anxiety or other negative elements in oneself, which is the individual denies the facts or events that did occur. So denial, usually the children will use this kind of defense mechanism. For example, if something happened, something bad happened, and we ask the little children, so who did this? Anyone knew that who did this? And they will automatically respond, no, I didn't know, not me, not me. So that is one form of denial. Probably at this age, you will see your friends or your family members, they adapt this denial defense mechanism. Okay, and projection is the reversing desires or weaknesses, okay, to other people. So they tend to blame other people for things that happened or for the problems that arise. So they will project the mistakes, or they will blame other people of that problem. Okay, they project to other people, right? Blaming game, and they playing victim, they're blaming game. So these are all projection defense mechanism. Okay, and the next one, it's the reaction formation, which is performing an action that is against the will. So the individual has weaknesses, so to cover those weaknesses, he does the opposite to satisfy himself. Okay, and displacement, they misplace revenge on others. Okay, this is typical characteristic of probably a man or a woman, a husband or a wife, a mom or a dad. Okay, at the office, they is always angry, kan? He always angry, and when he return home, he always angry with his family. Okay, so probably at office, he will always get scolded by other people, and when he come back, so he will he will put the anger towards his family, okay, to his family. So people who abused, maybe they are the victims of abuse before. Okay, sublimation, it's when a type of defense mechanism that when someone is sad, someone is in that mourning condition and not happy, they will put their disappointment, or they salute their disappointment to something such as something good, such as they sing, they do something, they write a nice poetry, they draw, they express themselves through something that is good. So they transfer their negative feelings, their sad feelings towards something good in expression. Okay. Isolations, this is common defense mechanism that most people use. They separate events with feelings. They don't want to face any kind of problems. They did not handle the problems well, and they rather put aside without solving the problems. So they isolate themselves with the problem. Okay, provocation behavior is the unable to express feelings. So anything seemingly successful to express feelings in the form of provocation, so that people do something against him, like angry. So this is simple. You provoke other people so that people will get angry to you. And this is one type of defense mechanism as well. And rationalization, I think most of us have this defense mechanism whereby we have efforts. We put efforts to find reasons or rationales explain the cause of failure. So if you were facing any difficulties or failure, we rather admit the mistake and we rather line out all the possible reasons why it happened. And I believe not all of us have this rationalization. So the pressure from the failure, it can be reduced somehow. So you look at all these defense mechanism and try to identify which defense mechanism that you always adapt in your throughout your life. Okay. So these are the defense mechanism. Okay, it's some sort of, if you have time and you want to come up with this kind of drawings and explaining, probably you have sometimes you adapt projection, or you adapt, or you use sublimation as part of your defense mechanism. Probably you can jot down the script that you adapt. Okay. Okay, the last one is the free association and dream analysis. This is a technique that is very important in psychotherapy and psychoanalysis therapy. So Freud, he introduced this free association, which is a technique in which the patient says whatever comes to mind. And in other words, it's a kind of daydreaming out loud. Okay. And dream analysis, it's also a technique involving the interpretation of dreams to uncover unconscious conflicts. So dreams have a manifest content, which is the actual events in the dream, and the latent content is the symbolic meaning of the dream's event. That's when why the reason why Freud emphasize on unconscious mind, it's because it is, I mean, he is applying the unconscious, the dream analysis in exploring the unconscious mind of his patients. Okay, probably we can have a look at this video for more better understanding. Okay, hold on, yeah. Okay, YouTube. Oh, okay. Dream analysis. Hmm. Oh, it seems that it is not the link, it's different. Okay, guys, I think I cannot play the video because the link is no record as found. I will try to look for the same video again and we'll share it in the WhatsApp group. Okay, guys?
Of course, Professor.
Okay, all right. And hold on, yeah. Okay, but the video is interesting because we have a better understanding of what is free association, what does how does the dream analysis works in a psychotherapy, and from the dream analysis, from the probing of the questions by the therapist, it will lead to a few themes, conflicts experienced by the client. So it is very, I mean, it's good for the therapy to probe and to cue the client. Okay, so these are the summary of theories. Probably you can watch, and thank you. All right.
Hello?
Yes, Zhao.
The video is actually working.
Is it
I
working?
can, yeah, I can open the link.
Oh, okay. Can you share the link in the chat box so that I can play?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Who is that talking? Oh, okay. Hold on. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'll try to play it once again. Okay. Share it again. I mean, okay. Can you see the YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
Bob is about to start psychoanalytic therapy. He's met his therapist, Jane, and is comfortable with her, but he still feels a little bit nervous. He's never been in therapy before. What kind of things are going to take place during his therapy sessions? Psychoanalytic therapy contains many different therapeutic techniques. These techniques are intended to increase awareness and foster insight into the client's behavior. 4 techniques will be discussed in this lesson: free association, dream analysis, analysis of transference, and analysis of resistance. We will follow Bob as he experiences these 4 techniques in his therapy sessions. Free association involves exploring a person's unconscious through spontaneous word association. Clients are encouraged to say whatever comes to mind when the therapist presents them with a word, no matter how trivial, illogical, or irrelevant the response may seem. It is the therapist's job to interpret the responses as patterns and the associations are identified. Bob has recently gone through a divorce. Dealing with this is what led him to seek therapy. Since Bob's therapist, Jane, knows this, she will ask Bob to do some free association with words he may relate to relationships or marriage. It would look something like this. Jane says, wife, and Bob says, mine. Jane says, wedding, and Bob says, promise. Jane says, husband, and Bob says, power. Jane says, love, and Bob says, obedience. Jane says, commitment, and Bob says, important. Jane had hoped this technique would uncover a theme to explore further in Bob's therapy, and she wasn't disappointed. A number of Bob's responses indicate that he associates marriage with control over someone. This is something that they can explore further in therapy. This is a central technique in psychoanalytic therapy. It is used to uncover unconscious desires or intense emotions that have been blocked by the client. Dream analysis is the investigation of repressed feelings that can be expressed in our dreams. Psychoanalytic theory believes repressed feelings often manifest themselves in our dreams. This happens because our defenses are lowered when we sleep. Dream analysis helps uncover this unconscious material. Dreams have two levels of content: latent content, or hidden motives, wishes, or fears, and manifest content. This refers to the dream as it actually appears. Dream analysis takes place as the therapist uncovers the disguised latent content within the actual manifest content of the dream. Usually this involves identifying symbolic meaning in the dream. Sometimes free association with different dream elements is used in the process. Jane has asked Bob to write down any dreams he has had and to bring it with him to his next therapy session. The night before his therapy session, Bob had a dream that he was trying to bury something. No matter how deep he dug the hole or how much dirt he put back in, the object could not be covered up. He also could not see what it is he was trying to bury. Jane asks Bob to do some free association with her about the dream. Jane says hole, and Bob says endless. Jane says bury, and Bob says failure. The responses continue in a similar manner. This leads to an interpretation of the dream. It appears that Bob is repressing feelings of failure and hopelessness. Interpreting a dream's meaning not only uncovers repressed material, but provides insight into a person's present functioning. Transference is the transfer of feelings from the past to someone in the present. Usually it involves these feelings being transferred from the client onto the therapist. This situation is considered valuable to the therapeutic process because it allows the client to re-experience feelings that need to be resolved. Let's look at an example of this with Bob. Jane is trying to direct the therapy session towards a discussion about Bob's feelings toward his ex-wife. Bob becomes angry with Jane and asks her why she always wants to be in control. Bob feels that because he is a man, he should be in control of the situation. As Bob begins to realize he is really expressing his feelings toward his ex-wife, he begins to talk about why he feels strongly about being in control and how it affected his marriage. Exploring transference can often open the discussion of a topic that a client has been trying to avoid. It can also demonstrate the influence of the past on a person's current functioning. This brings us to the topic of resistance. Resistance is any attitude, idea, feeling, or action that interferes with a change from the present situation. The therapist needs to help the client see that this resistance is not helpful to them. Do they want to continue on a path that is not working for them, or do they want to try something new? Let's think of Bob again. Bob is having difficulty believing that he does not have to be in control of everything in his life. After all, if he is in control, things will go the way he wants them to. Jane must help him realize that he is blaming himself for things that he cannot control. For Bob to make progress in therapy, he must realize that he cannot control the actions or choices of others. The analysis of resistance is essential to successful therapy. If a client is unable to resolve the issue that is interfering with a change in their present situation, they're unlikely to be successful at changing it. There are many therapeutic techniques that can be used in psychoanalytic therapy. 4 of these are free association, dream analysis, analysis of transference, and analysis of resistance.
Okay, I hope you learned something. It's a basic to differentiate the dream analysis and the free association. All right, so I think that's all for this week. I shall see you next week during our class, because next week it's your final week before you start your mid-semester break, isn't it? So next week will be week 6, and you are off for mid-semester break for 1 week, correct?
Of course, Professor.
Yes, correct, doctor.
Okay. So if you probably we stop here, and I shall see you next week. Okay?
Excuse me, doctor.
Yeah.
So I was
Adrian.
actually late for today, a little bit late, and I actually missed the attendance.
Oh, okay. Hold on, yeah. I sorry, stop sharing. Okay. Hold on, hold on. Okay. How many of you? You are 34. Okay. Hold on, I shall share once again. Okay. Can you see the attendance? Those who haven't scanned, you can scan. Those who have scanned, you may leave the Zoom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor.
You have a good day.
Of course, you too, Professor. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, dokter.
Sama-sama. Okay. Right, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I give you until 5:40. I will end the attendance and the Zoom. Thank you.
Could you please send the record of the class to the group?
Okay, wait until it is downloaded in the iCloud, yeah? It
Yeah.
will take some times.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
So we can see we can watch the recording in the
Yes.
Zoom in this
Yes.
app, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, professors.
Welcome. I'll see you next week.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor.
Okay. Have you all okay? You have scanned the attendance, yeah? Okay, good. Thank you. Bye bye.